Okay, so for today's video, I decided to do something a little bit different, mainly because I want to test out recording setup and stuff, so maybe I can eventually stream stuff as well. But for today's video, what I'm going to actually be doing is kind of trying to simulate a bot lane matchup while also showing off some of the new AP items on Jinx, because why not? But furthermore, just a few things before we actually get into this. This is going to be a bot game because my computer isn't the most reliable right now, so I don't want to risk trying to do this in a game with actual people and like DC or something and then ruin the game for my team. On top of that, I primarily want to show off these items, so I kind of want to make it easy to be able to build them and not have to necessarily go against a very challenging opponent and not be able to actually get that off. Jinx obviously doesn't have, of course, like the best AP scalings or anything like that, but I thought I'd be a little bit different with that as well too. To show off first and foremost the new item, SpellBound Orb, which I'll be building first. When it comes to this though, since we have a little bit of time before the minions spawn, there actually is something I haven't gone over in past videos yet, and we're talking about the whole Riot wanting to move mages and stuff to the bottom lane, so we are actually going against Cassiopeia in the bottom lane. I want to talk about starting items real quick, because I'm kind of curious, what do you guys think will become like the starting item if you are an AD carry going against mages? Because mages do magic damage, and a built-in weakness for AD carries is very low, and used to be just none scaling magic resist, so they would pop very easily. And as such, would it still be maybe like a door and shield start if you want to be a bit more defensive, or do you think people will actually take, not the Null Magic Mantle, I think that's the more expensive one, but like the 450 one, and then like a health pot or something? Oh, okay, we're already having problems. As you might be able to see, maybe you can't see, my FPS drops quite a bit, so this is going to be like the most beautiful of laning phases. It's part of why I haven't done my placements and stuff like that as well. Part of why I made it bots too, because again, like I said, don't want to ruin the game for actual players with FPS drops and stuff like that. Jeez, okay. But as I was saying, I don't really think starting items would really change that much. I guess I would imagine if the lane is going to be really hard for you, you probably would see people just take the Doran's shield instead. But I don't know, and that's kind of one of the questions I want to pass off to you guys immediately as we get into this video. Do you think if you're really going against like a magic heavy matchup that's really poking you, like an Azir or something, there'd be more favored builds and stuff, or maybe whatever, to take something like that first? Let's see if I can bait her onto these, because what I did, I should probably have explained my rune matchup. Yeah, there you go, they're running. Can I? No, that was a bad idea. It's like one rocket and I'm mad. I'm mad now. I'm terrible. Anyway, I got distracted too. All the excuses in the world right now won't save me from how bad that was. That's one of the concerns though, was if Azir goes bottom lane, he'll just poke you forever, and then there's nothing you could really do about that, and you know, all of that stuff. And I'm not saying it's not valid, I'm just kind of curious, how much do you think that will or will not play a part in a starting item like that, especially if you can build it into something like, I know Guardian's Angel doesn't build out of stuff like magic resist anymore, but maybe you just sit on that just for the laning phase. Like, you're not going to actually build it into anything, and once you get out of the laning phase, you sell it for something else. Why am I backing, actually? But for my setup, I decided for the AP Jinx, if you will. I took the biscuits. I get one of those every 3 minutes because we're going to need the mana and the health probably. I took Comet, mainly because I didn't like Phage Rust or Airy better. I took, let's see what else I took. I don't know these names by heart. Nullifying Orb, because we're in like a magic matchup, which I was going to segue about the whole starting item thing. If you take the Doran's Shield and maybe just take Null, Magic, Mantle, Orb, whatever this is, Nullifying Orb, I can't say names. That might actually be good enough, right? You take lethal magic damage, and you might not need oh, hold on. Okay, so you do that, and you might not maybe need something else, right? Like maybe Blitzcrank. Can I explain to my viewers something, please? Like the freaking magic resist item start. Maybe this would be good enough. You can still go the Doran's Shield or Doran's Blade, even for that matter. Okay, there we go. So that was embarrassing. Also Scorch for trading as well, and then I also took Transcendence just for the 10% CDR, because since we're messing around with this build, we're going to want to be spamming the Flame Chompers, so any bit of cooldown reduction, because that's going to be our main source of damage, unless we go like an on-hit build, of course, will be needed. But I kind of also want to do this for a longer video, and also be able to talk to you guys a bit more about this stuff, and kind of pick your guys' brains a bit more. You guys are pretty good at like commenting with various opinions and stuff, and it's been actually kind of interesting seeing some people's opinion, because some people, they don't play AD carry, so the idea of opening up bot lane seems like a great idea. Of course, there's some people that do play AD carry, so they're kind of really concerned about opening up bottom lane because they wonder if their role is going to be in jeopardy, if it's going to, oh no. They wonder if it's going to, you know, get out of meta, be super weak because of the way balance works. And like I mentioned earlier, one of the weaknesses of AD carries is not really great defensive scaling. So if you go against something really heavy in poke, would that be a problem? As mentioned in like a later post, they are thinking about in return also allowing AD carries to go to other roles. So on an enemy team, for example, I have Graves going top lane. Looks like he's not doing that well, of course. And Graves top isn't completely new, of course. Oh no, Leona, you might die there. Okay. Completely new. When he first became a jungler, sometimes they'd rotate him top, and maybe if they took a tank jungler, put the tank in the jungle and then have Graves top. So that maybe isn't exactly the best case or example I could have put, of course, but you know, don't want to make it too easy on our team. I want to have the actual time and game length to maybe build this first item. Here's the biscuit, which we can kind of help out with mana and health issues there. Help my FPS. I'm just hoping my FPS stays at least 30 something, because sometimes it'll drop to 7 and it gets really bad, and we're gonna get this fixed eventually, because I want to do my placements and get on with ranked and all that good stuff. But this was actually a mistake, but let's see if I can bait her with the flame chomper, so just to get some damage on those. And the thing about this particular build, I'm still gonna build all the new items just to show them off. That's what the goal is here too. But if we were gonna actually seriously talk about AP Jinx for a moment, just a brief moment, I know we won't talk about it too long. It's off meta, so it's not good. I get it. But the flame choppers do damage over time, but I kind of wonder, would it be better to still do burst damage for the upfront damage that the flame choppers would do if you do go that route? Or would you more focus on like a Q max and you would still go with the, come on Blitz. Okay, never mind. On hit like Nashor's Tooth. There actually is an interesting way, the interaction, if you go Nashor's Tooth, Lich Bane, and you do something like you fire Zap first, and like with the static Shiv and a Nashor's Tooth, and like a full AP build, so Death Cap and stuff, you can do magic crits for like 800, which isn't like the greatest perhaps, but it's still something. Oh, my ping. See, if it's not my FPS dropping, my ping is up to like 115 now, and it's just, okay, so now we can back. So I'm gonna apologize. This video will probably be a little bit choppy too, because of stuff like that. Between that and OBS, I have to currently, because of my computer, have it on like the lowest setting to be able to get OBS to actually record stuff. I'll try and make the quality better in editing, but it's probably not gonna be super fantastic, and I'm sorry about that too. So, talking about this item real quick as we head back to lane here. It gives you 100 ability power, 10% movement speed, nearby allied and enemy spellcasters charge Spellbounder, which it caps up to 100% max, or just 100 maximum, not 100%. And on its active, you gain 75% decaying movement speed and a maximum of 50 ability power for each stored spellcast stored in Spellbounder with an 8-second duration and a 60-second cooldown. Now, one of the things to note about there that I've seen asked about is, well, does that count about allied spellcast? Does that mean self-cast as well? Yes, it does, actually. It means if I throw the flame chompers, oh no, is she gonna get away because of grounded? Fine. Didn't really want to do that. Nah, we can kite it out. Well, maybe not, because my, can we move? There we go. Distracted while gaming. Anyways, my CS is terrible, yeah. But anyways, what I was in the middle of saying is it counts with allied spellcast. So once I get the item, I'll show you guys a bit more, but I thought I'd bring it up now, in case I forget later on, and so that way you can ask me about it in the comments or whatever. But it does mean with your own cast. It doesn't mean, when it says allied, it doesn't really specify that it also means self, but you don't have to be like, oh, I'm like Rise, and I'm, you know, spamming spells, but because I don't have any, like my ally Nidalee next to me, or whoever does magic damage from like the jungle, like Elise or whatever, it won't actually work. Well, no, it does mean you yourself will also be able to count, so you can, and it doesn't actually have to be a magic damage ability either. So Zap actually counts too, which is part of why I wanted to play as Jinx as well. If for some reason maybe you're playing as a hybrid champion, you're wondering, well, does it have to be only my magic damage ability items? What is up with the ping right now? It's like 113, and it makes it really, really actually annoying to do this. Anyways, so in other words, once I get the item, you actually use Zap. Zap doesn't do magic damage if you didn't know that because you don't play Jinx or whatever. it kind of counts with a spell cast. So not necessarily a magic or AP ability, a spell cast specifically. Because I did, like I said, see that come up sometimes. It's like if you're Karthus and you're spamming your Qs, does that count? Or do you have to have like a mage support that's near you spamming their abilities for that to count? No, if you're Karthus, spam away, as long as you have mana, of course, that actually works. So... oh, jeez. I'm missing some stats because I went sorcery into inspiration because, like I said, I wanted to get as much cooldown as possible too, since Flame Chompers is actually our main source of damage. Oh no, that hit? Well, of course it hit. It's Blitzcrank. Well, it's fine though. We're fine. We're like 3 levels ahead, and we got a Leona. We can actually fight this. Yeah. So, anyways, one of the things to note is I'm not exactly sure about the 75% decaying speed, because I have tried a few games already to see what that really means. Is it a burst of movement speed, kind of like old Ghost? And if you don't remember, because maybe you only recently even started playing the game, or maybe you just never really took old Ghost, before they nerfed it this last go around, you would get a lot of your movement speed up front. So champions like Rise and such were very strong because like kind of right out the gates you could actually use and then have like all of the movement speed up front, and then it would decay later. So far in testing this and trying to use it, it doesn't actually seem like the movement speed is in a burst like say Jinx's passive even. I'm not exactly sure because in my experimentation I've been trying to kind of chain them together, so when Jinx gets excited and takes off running, I then will try when hers starts decaying to use this to keep it going for longer. So far it doesn't look like that actually works though. Or just not for long, because you can stack up to like 100 in this, and I don't really get a chance to stack that much. Looks like Leona's actually going to die here before we get back to lane. But let me show you what I mean. So you see down here, it's going to have a number on here to show how many spells you have stacked. So I can cast Zap, and now it has a 1 there. So Zap, for example, counts even though it's a non-magic damage ability, and non-AP ability even. Now switching to Fish Bones, for example, if you're like a form swapper that has a hybrid or whatever, that doesn't actually do anything. So like, even though it's technically a cast, it's not a like spell cast. It still has to be a spell cast of some sort. So on the Flame Chompers, even though the Flame Chompers don't hit, or they do hit because she walked into them, that's nice, thank you very much, it counts too. So now as you see, I have 4. Where's Leona? I know she died, but like, it didn't take this long to get back to lane. Now we're at 6, for example, and I'll try and get to, let's say, 100 or something before we move on to like the next item to talk about as well. That's actually was really good. I know it's bots, so it's like, what's really good in bots? Like, what is considered really good? Okay, but now we're up to 17. And once we get to at least 50, if it takes too long, like it's like, okay, well, we were here to see the Spellbound Orb. You're taking forever to get to the Spellbound Orb. If you could hurry it up, it'd be kind of nice. I got other things to do than watch a really long YouTube video. If it takes too long to get towards 100, then I'll maybe do it at like 50 or something that looks like it would be a decent enough number to show what the movement speed looks like. We're at 17 right now. 18. 19. Like, even though the Flame Chompers don't snare anybody, it'll still actually count because you casted it. So whatever champion that you're considering doing this on that actually is maybe a mage, that's probably how it works. If you're Cassiopeia on the other side, for example, and you try Grounded, and you don't hit anybody, or you hit just minion waves, it'll still be fine, it'll still work. Low cooldown. I guess we're gonna tunnel vision though. I'm just gonna go after Cassio. Just walk her home. See ya. Oh, Graves is here. That's not gonna matter. Like I said, this is a bot game too, so no matter how well I do or don't do, please take it with a grain of salt. This isn't a good, obviously, source of showing what is good. I'm just, like I said, at the beginning, I'm worried because, like I said, this thing sometimes is unreliable. It sometimes auto restarts. So I wasn't gonna jump into a real game with real people and risk DCing and losing them the game over that. I just don't want to do that. I feel bad when that happens. And it's always random. Like, it's never like at a consistent time where it's like, oh, it's like about 6 p.m. It always auto restarts. It could be at like 10 in the morning. It could be at like 11 o'clock at night. It's never consistent. So that's why we're doing a bot game. I know bot games aren't the most exciting, I've been told in the past. So that's why I kind of keep bringing this up. So I do apologize for that. Now, the next item we're going to actually build here, though, to show off, is actually the Morello Nemocon turning into Morello's Cursed Tome or whatever. The name hasn't been switched here yet, but this is like the the Haunting Guise. Haunting Guise used to be the flat pin item, as if you don't know, because you didn't maybe see yesterday's video or whatever, first time watching one of my videos, that's fine. Liandry's Torment is getting changed so that it doesn't have the flat penetration on it anymore. It's too much of a generalist item, right? It has the flat penetration, so it's good against squishies, but you're supposed to build it to deal with tanks. So they've changed Liandry so that's more of a tank-only dealing item. And Morello's is going to be now the new flat pin item, and this is like the new Haunting Guise, where that's the flat pin, and this is better for squishier targets. So we're going to actually be building that next for the Flame Chompers and just try for some flat-up burst. See how that goes. Let's see if we can snipe anybody. Galio, he's kind of low, but he's not low enough. I guess they're gonna like 3-man bot now. That's what the bots do. They start grouping wherever they can, especially if one lane just gets pushed too much. They should be rotating top at some point. That's how this is supposed to work. I don't know. It's the PBE, and bots have been wild for a while now. So this wasn't like the best example laning phase. I did kind of want to show like a Cassiopeia, for example, with something engaging like a Blitzcrank. Maybe I should have purposely got hooked a bit more just to kind of show that off a bit more too. But comment is actually interesting. I've never actually taken comment on Jinx, I don't think. I'm getting distracted. But when it comes to this item, since we're dealing with the Cassiopeia and things like Graves and such, I'm building that for them to see if we can maybe show off what that damage will look like on them. I do have the flat penetration already, so if they walk into it like that, see ya. What? Okay, well, hold on. Thank you, Blitz. Well, okay, well, I'm the worst. I did not take account. Why? Thank you. The arm time there. Glacial Augment might have still been better here, honestly. Can I get that out before him? Nope. He'll get away. He's gonna get away. Well, that's fine. We almost have 50. Mana cost is being a bit of an issue with the whole, we can spam stuff, but because of the mana cost that still exists, it's not like they go away when you build cooldown reduction after all. We're not gonna be able to spam this quite often. We're at 55, maybe that's good enough. I'll give it a little bit longer. And obviously in post, like this video probably might end up being like a 30-minute video before the game ends. I'm probably gonna cut it down quite a bit, but I am gonna just keep talking across the entire video just in case there's something that comes up that would be good to use. But by all means, even if I don't end up cutting out a bunch of stuff, feel free to skip around if you want to look for something specific. No, that's gonna take a lot of time to do. Never mind. I'm not even building on hit, so like the minigun isn't really that effective. Okay, well. No, wait, Cassiopeia's alone. It looks like Blitzcrank went top. Yeah, there's 3 top. Now, granted, Cassio almost has the Rylai's, so that's gonna be fun. But let's see if I can get an example of like the flat pin damage. Even though I don't have a lot, let's see here. Let's see if I can bait her. Yeah, okay, so that's almost half of her health. I am a couple levels ahead, so keep that in mind too. This probably would be a little bit less, but that's the idea. It's the new Haunting Guise item for squishier targets. It's supposed to help you deal with squishier targets better. It's supposed to be squishy target focused. And there's a nullifying orb for trading with magic damage in the bottom lane, like we kind of mentioned a little bit early in the video. And we're just going to throw the Flame Chompers to get 64 before we back. Can we get the item yet? Yeah, okay, so now we can get the item. We're going to go get it. The next item we're probably going to build is actually Liandry's, just because they do have tanks on their team, the likes of Galio, Malphite, and possibly Blitzcrank, because I want to also show off that item too to you guys so you can maybe get a better understanding of what I'm talking about. So now Liandry's, it still builds the same build path and everything like that, it's just more better for tanks. It deals 2% more damage for each second in combat with champions, 10% maximum, and spells burn enemies for 3 seconds, dealing bonus magic damage equal to 1% of their maximum health per second. Burn damage is doubled against movement impaired units. And the Flame Chompers are kind of actually damage over time, grenades if you do build them with AP and you go AP Jinx. And I'm talking full AP Jinx, not even on hit Jinx. So we'll build that next, both to show that off, and then so you can get an idea of what the interaction is supposed to be, what we're going to be looking for when I get to that point. Apparently our Trundle's popping off. Again, it's a bot though. Is it really popping off? Or is it just all scripted? They're all in on it together. I'm the odd man out. Should use these a bit more. These actually can make some wave. What if I keep the minion wave like right here? Let them detonate in 5 seconds. Yeah, there we go. That's the detonation. I don't know if it was really, if you could, I could just stand right here and do it so you guys can see actually. So if I drop the flame chompers right here, in terms of like damage over time and stuff, it comes either when they get snared or when that explosion happens. You'll see numbers tick up because actually the flame chompers do their magic damage, but it's over a course of 1.5 seconds. It's not actually all at once in burst. So if I throw these out and Cassiopeia actually walks onto them, see how it ticks up right there to about 435. Instead of the 435 all at once, it's over, you know, time. Now granted, Liandry's, it seems like, could still work as a like burn feature. So on certain supports like Brand and Zyra, I've seen some concerns about, well, is this even good to build on them anymore? Because it seems like it's really for only killing tanks. It means it'll probably do less damage against squishy targets because we're talking about maximum health and like double damage when you build Rylai's and stuff. But I don't actually see you guys not being able to still build those items, which is kind of what we're in this video to do. On paper, it looks like you actually guys can still probably build those items if you play those champions, you play support or whatever. But we're gonna see. I'm gonna try and check that out here in this video before we end at some point. Maybe at like the very end of the video, I'll have like a too long didn't watch or something. We're almost at 100 on SpellBound Orb. I know it's like, well, isn't you supposed to be showing off SpellBound Orb? Yeah, I can't talk. Why haven't you shown it off yet? And it's like, well, we're almost at full charges. And if I just like went back to Fountain and spammed abilities, which is probably what I should have done in hindsight, we'd be there by now. Okay, let's try it on this minion wave right here. Look at the flame chompers real quick when they detonate. I'll try and so they're in view here. Yeah, they burn over time like that. So that's why we're building Liandry's too, because if they do that to minions and like weaker targets like Cassiopeia, like we've seen, we'll see what they do to tanks, as now they're kind of supposed to be like the anti-tank items, Haunting Guys and Liandry's. I'm probably wondering if it's going to be more impactful to build Rylai's than before. If you were one of those people that built this item but like didn't build Rylai's, like you went, let's say, Morello's into Liandry's into Void Staff, and you never actually built the Rylai's. Well, with the double damage, because it is movement impaired, not necessarily has to be the slow, it is movement impaired. So maybe some people used to skip out on that, and maybe now it's in a state where you kind of have to build those two items together, in which case I could understand concerns about people not liking that. It's going to feel like you're kind of pigeonholed into a certain build, when the whole point of this whole change is to kind of allow more flexibility. It seems kind of, you know, counterintuitive, kind of like giving Jinx a lot of shoving power back on her minigun, but also at the same time reducing her AD so she can't shove as fast. Seems like you kind of just put her in the same spot a little bit. Not throwing shade, not throwing bias. Let's keep the video moving. We have enough to buy Haunting Guys. I'm just trying to get some more spell cast out because we're at 84 now. 85 because I just feel like it right there. So cooldown reduction is what's also going to build up your orbs in SpellBound Orb a lot quicker. So part of the reason I took the runes I did was to just have a bunch of cooldowns so I can just do this often so that we can get SpellBound Orb faster. So we're gonna get Haunting Guys. We don't quite have enough to get this yet. We will if I actually wait, but I don't feel like waiting because I'm impatient. Oh wait, I'll actually build up SpellBound Orb by just sticking around here. I don't have quite enough cooldown reduction yet. I did take this one, which also gives me just 5% cooldown reduction. I took this one, which gave me cooldown reduction at 10 minutes. So I'm up to 15% based off of that. But in terms of cooldown reduction, Morello's used to actually give cooldown reduction, so I will take a second to actually talk about that as well. Morello's doesn't anymore. Lost Chapter now has a cooldown in it, which is called Haste, which gives you 10% cooldown reduction, and it builds into now the Hextech GLP 800, the Archangel's Staff, and Luden's Echo, which all of those are now your cooldown reduction items. And the reason this is like this is for flexibility, right? These are kind of supposed to be the first items now on mages. I'm kind of rushing the SpellBound Orb to show you guys what it looks like, but if I was like seriously playing an AP champion, these are what's supposed to be the first 3 items, unless your name's like Victor or something like that, in which case you're probably rushing your hex score upgrade. But these are the items that now build, and then because of the first item, they also wanted to grant mages cooldown reduction of some sort. But depending on the mage you are, if you're like a poke mage or a sustain mage or you need wave clear, that's the kind of the flexibility that we were talking about earlier. So you don't all have to build like the exact same first item. The same way back in season 5, if you remember, the 80 carry like build path was for every 80 carry, no matter what 80 carry it was always, oh, build Infinity Edge, Phantom Dancer, Last Whisper, no matter what, it works against tanky targets and squishy targets. That's your 3-item power spike. They're kind of trying to change that, but for mages. For mages, it feels a bit like you have to build Morellos because it's just too good. You have to build Liandry's because it's too good. You have to build Void Staff. Well, right off the bat, since 3 different items that do kind of 3 different things give you some cooldown. Oh, hold on. Do a couple different things. You now have a bit more flexibility. Man, I do like no damage, huh? Okay. Also, my FPS is 17. But anyways, what they want to be able to do is, like, if you're Lux and you want to, you know, not build Morellos, you can build Ludens and be fine, because you'll still get the cooldown reduction, some wave clear and stuff. If you're like Aurelion Soul, you can still build the Hextech GLP 800, and you'll still get the cooldown reduction that you probably need. So building up the SpellBound Orb will probably be a lot easier and faster than what I'm doing, because I'm also now, you know, not really doing a lot of cooldown reduction. Oh, they body blocked it. Okay, well, here we go. We finally have it at 100, which is the point. Let's see what it does. Okay. Oh, okay, so it is a bit in the burst. You do have to build it up to get a burst, and that burst wasn't very fast, obviously, right? Like, we probably have a longer and faster duration for Jinx's passive by herself. Obviously, this isn't an item that's really meant for Jinx. It's meant for something like a Rise or something that used to really benefit with old Ghost. So, there is that. My FPS is super terrible. I hope the quality is okay for you guys. I'm gonna actually back so I can go get the new Liandry's Torment, if you will, because one of the things that has come up is certain champions like Mordekaiser are actually like straight up one-shotting people with the new Liandry's Torment. And so it seems like it's pretty much doing what its name is, tormenting people. Okay, my ping was almost at like 107. It looks like it's back down. We're gonna go top lane, actually. We don't want the game to end quite yet. Though I've kind of gone over most of the main stuff, so if it does, well, let's just, for the sake of. Oh, there goes my comet, so I guess I hit somebody. I'm actually just gonna go, because the game looks like it's probably gonna end once people respawn. Their tanks are all up, which is kind of what I want to test too, since now we have Liandry's Torment. So it's supposed to do some burn damage to these guys, and it's supposed to be made for more of an anti-tank item than it is on live. On live, it still is, and that's the thing. It still is on live, but the problem is it's more of a generalist item. It's like it's good against squishies and tanks, so you never are not okay taking it on everybody, and that's just not what they want anymore. So, Malphite, come here for a second. Nope. Okay. Fine. Okay, there he goes. He steps on it. He's under-leveled, so, like, I'm level 14 to his level 11, but it took about half his health. He doesn't have a lot of magic resist, of course, because he has Malphite. He wasn't probably building a lot of it, mind you, but oh geez, my frames are like completely down. On squishier targets like Graves, he got caught. Now granted, I have the combination of the flat pin from Morello's and Liandry's, so that's one of the things I kind of want to pass off as another question to you guys. What's to stop people from just building both of these items then and just having good damage against both now? Since, oh, okay, hold on, this just got, well, that's not good at all. No, we want to actually fight though, because we want to get more chances to do this. But I was just going to say, if they split the flat pin across 2 items, what's to stop people from just building both the items and then still doing what they've been doing? Is that even really a problem? Because at least you still have to build 2 different items. Yeah, that burned Cassiopeia to death. Wow, okay, I wasn't paying attention, I'm sorry. My FPS is at like 15, so I can't really tell that well anyways. But anyways, that's the question. If that is the case, is that even a problem? Because at least it's still more than 1 item that's being built, so maybe that's okay. Yeah, we're getting to the late game, and late game the Flame Chompers actually do stupid amounts of damage, so... See, that's what it looks like right there. So, like, if you stack it with her passive, for example, it is a nice little bit of a boost. It's kind of like a mini Jinx passive, and like I was in the middle of saying before I trailed off, and I'm sorry. Some champions like Rise and stuff used to be pretty strong in the meta because of the way old Ghost worked. Even Olaf, even though he doesn't build AP, like things like that was what really abused old Ghost, and it was fine. but it was nerfed, so some champions like that might have been left out to dry, and now it might be better because they will have this item, which it only is when you stack too, so it's not like they can just pop inactive and have a burst of movement speed. It is gated by needing to stack orbs, spell orbs, so I think that's the counterplay in it, if you will. So that's what will stop it from being like too annoying and too powerful or whatever. Go ahead, walk into the flame chompers. No? Okay, well, that's unfortunate. So for example, right now I only have like 30 something. It's pretty low, so we're now at 40 something. It won't be a lot when it comes off. It also has a cooldown too, so watch this. It's like a little bit of a shove, right? It was like an aggressive lunge more so than a burst of movement speed. So I think that's fine in terms of counterplay. Okay, walk backwards. Walk onto them. No. Oh crud. There we go. Now he burns like to almost death because of the flat pin and the... No? Okay. Well, I'm trying, guys. I mainly wanted to show off that item and also kind of just discuss what it does, more so than anything else. So we kind of have done that at this point. Oh, I hope he doesn't have ult. Okay. I'm wary of Malphite. We'll have a little bit extra discussion at the very end, too. So even if I go a little bit silent in the middle of something. Oh, wow, that was actually... Nah, Galio, forget that. Come here, Galio. No, no, okay, I guess I did ask for it. I'm sorry, but I meant come here, but actually back up onto my chompers is what I actually meant. Okay. And then Trundled, you can't knock them off. There we go. Okay, so there he goes. What? Excuse you? We're not in trouble. We're fine. We just have 16 FPS, but we're fine. And also, I guess we need to kind of escape. See ya. Yeah, get a burst of yeah, there we go. Perfect. Chain it with the reset there. So I don't have enough to buy one of the cooldown items yet. I think the game might end because my team is actually just better. It's kind of how that... Oh, wow. My FPS just dropped to 7. So, apologies to all people viewing, and it's getting really choppy for you guys. Okay, never mind, my team might actually end. I was gonna try maybe build one of these cooldown items. I think I explained it pretty decently. If it didn't, you know, feel free to ask me more questions. Just in general, if there was something I went over and then I forgot to finish talking about it because I got distracted, just ask me in the comments section so I can explain more in depth. You can also find posts with information about this stuff on places like Surrender at 20. It's a great website to go check out. I'm pretty sure this game is actually about to end. I think they're on the Nexus. Yeah. Game over. So I didn't quite get to finish a full AP build, which is probably for the best. The way that team is, AP Jinx would have not been very good. The Flame Chompers would have been the only damage source, and that's actually pretty fine. The thing is, however, that I will mention about these changes is when it comes to Spellbound Orb, a few things to go over that we saw, and maybe if it was choppy, maybe didn't see very well, is that you get a lot more movement speed the more orbs you build up. So in terms of counterplay, it is gated by both having a cooldown. Even if you did have 100 orbs and you sped up really fast, you gotta wait 60 seconds before you can use it again. And in 60 seconds, if you don't have another 100 orbs stacked up, you're not gonna be that fast. So in terms of kiting and stuff like that, a concern I've seen some people wonder is that too powerful giving movement speed like that? Well, it's not straight up, right? You have to stack it up, and then it has the cooldown even when you do use it. When it comes to Morello's and Liandry's now, Morello's is better for squishier targets. It's the new Liandry's Torment, if you will. Liandry's is more now for as an anti-tank item. Obviously, if you were playing a better champion with more, you know, that worked better as a mage than Jinx in this video, like a Cassiopeia or something, machine gunning, you know, twin fangs off on a tank, it would be a lot more effective. But the concern then comes up, do you have to actually build Rylai's now with it to make it the most effective? Because then you can have movement impaired enemies. Finally, cooldown reduction, right? Because to build up Spellbound Orb, you can use your own spells. That works, even though it doesn't quite say in the tooltip. Allied spell cast does mean your own cast as well. And if you're something like Karthus or whatever, that means you can spam your Qs after you build an Archangel Staff. As such, you need cooldown reduction though, probably, and then mana too. So when it comes to that, what you can do is actually build, in fact, cooldown reduction and mana. Archangel Staff, Luden's Echo, and the Hextech GOP 800 now build and have cooldown reduction in them. If you need more mana or something like that, you can still build the Archangel Staff or the GOP 800. I never will get it right, probably. Or if you don't need mana, or you don't need a lot of mana, you can get the Luden's Echo for some wave clear and stuff, and still probably be fine. So they're kind of setting mages up to be able to succeed with how these items work. It's kind of more so once these items hit live, or if you have a PBE, experimenting around and just kind of seeing what does and doesn't work. Obviously, I'm not, AP Jinx probably isn't going to be something that comes out of, these new AP item, that's unfortunate. No, it's not really. What am I trying to say here? Obviously, AP Jinx isn't something that's going to come out of the Mage Item Rework. One of the reasons I did this, though, was because Marksman will have to play against mages in the bot lane, because they're not kicking Marksman out of the bottom lane. So one of the things I wanted to wonder is, okay, defensive items. You still go Doran's Shield, and then maybe in sorcery take Nullifying Orb. Are you going to see people taking maybe the Magic Resist item thing that costs only 450 gold with a health pot? And it's not just too much. We'll see people going, Doran's Blade, and it's actually nothing. It's not that big of a deal. Who knows? Mainly because AD carries don't scale Magic Resist, and don't scale it very well. They actually do scale it somewhat, because they did add that a few patches ago, but it's still not a lot. So it's still what makes them kind of squishy. Not a lot of Magic Resist, or armor for that matter. So finally, when it comes to playing Mage's bot and stuff like that, it looks like they're going to have some starting items, Lost Chapter and stuff, kind of on par with a BF Sword in terms of backing times and such. So we might see that be a bit better for mages that do end up bot lane, like maybe a Cassiopeia, or a Rise, or Zyra, or Ziggs coming back. He'll be able to have something that he can buy at about the same time. That isn't too early of a buy, because it is 900 gold on live, versus a Marksman who has to then build like another 400 gold, and if they didn't get First Blood, that's going to be quite a bit more minions to be able to have to CS. So the Ziggs will spike earlier and be able to take over the lane a bit earlier, instead of it being, okay, who was actually the better farmer and was able to get to a closer item first. So that's all for this video. Decided to do something different. Like I said, trying to get OBS set up as well, so that maybe we can partake in streaming in the future. So I know it's a long video. I'll try and edit it down. Thank you so much for watching this video this far. If you did watch the whole video, I very much appreciate it. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe as well. But I don't know which video will be next. This life be quite a mess. So until next time, take care from the Fire Godai FS. Thank you for watching.